What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're gonna do the main thing we're gonna do today is give some fantasy football hot takes. Theo says he's gonna set the room on fire, so I'm really excited for that. This is gonna be the hottest episode of the year for Stay Hot. But before we get into that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Man, you're in the best mood I've maybe ever seen.
Oh yeah, I was actually about to say I'm just in a great mood right now. No particular reason too. Life is just great. There's so much good in the world.
Life is great. Life is good.
After coming in with the Panthers season is ruined, intro yesterday or last episode, you're not worried
you know
about
what? Ohio State's going to be good.
Down.
Bearcats are going to be good. I'm going to go to a bunch of football games. And the Panthers, I've already accepted they're not going to be okay. They're going to be terrible, fine. But I'm not going to get my hopes up, so no heartbreak. So it's not that bad.
That's the spirit. I just got Madden 23 in the new Xbox Series X, which was a funny little process because I was like, I'm not going to buy the entire Xbox. I'm just going to buy the new Madden for the Xbox One. But because they labeled it bad on the store, I bought the one for the Xbox Series X. I'm like, I'm not buying this shit twice. So then I just bought the new Xbox. And I've been playing that a little bit, and I've been posting my adventures on the Stay Hot TikTok with my Bengals franchise. And hopefully, I can count that as a business expense now that I'm posting it on the Stay Hot account. And at the end of the year, I can say that was a business purchase, and I can write it off on my taxes. So the tax-exempt league, league I'm doing solely for this league I'm doing solely for tax purposes.
If you announce that you're solely doing it for tax purposes, do you think the IRS is gonna be like, gotta investigate Stay Hot?
Well, hopefully there's no IRS agents listening to this, but even if they are, I mean, it legitimately is. I got Madden just to play it. I don't know if this is digging myself into a deeper hole or not, but it legitimately is that is a completely valid thing for me to say. It's content.
Yeah.
For, my job is to create NFL content. This is
Madden is an NFL
content.
Game.
People are interested in the content. So it really is a helpful business model for me. So I don't even think I'm jumping through any hoops here, doing any mental gymnastics.
No, I don't think so.
But I do have to make content. I can't just buy it, not make anything with it, and then be like, oh yeah, that was a business expense, right?
Right.
No, I have to actually make shit. So that's what I've been doing. And
Okay. Fair enough. Hopefully your Bengals franchise does better than my Seahawks one. No spoilers for the new Blaiden Madden.
Do you play on
franchise.
all Madden or all pro?
Yes, all Madden.
You play on all Madden. Well, it's going to go better because I play on all pro. But if I go 16 or 17-0, I'll bump it up. But sometimes I'll play all Madden mode and I'll rush it 15 times for 15 yards. And I'll be like, I don't think this is fun.
The problem with all Madden is that the QB that you're going against never makes a mistake.
Right.
Ever.
That's even on all pro, it'll be my average stat line against a quarterback, even a computer quarterback. Well, especially a computer quarterback will be 16 for 19. And the 3 incompletions are all picks by me. The ball just doesn't hit the ground ever.
No.
So that's why I don't like all, yes, I'll probably win a lot of games because even all pros, not that hard, but I just get so mad when it's 25 for 25 all Madden, and then you're also
playing with a good team. You got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
He got hurt.
A good team.
He got hurt. It was a random team. The people were the conspiracy theorists were out because I was just randomly clicking through it, and I was just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I stopped and I got the Bengals, and the conspiracy theorists were out. Were like, this is for
Rigged.
You just want a good team. You just wanted to do it because it's the Bengals. It's no, it's just a random team. But anyway, I've been having a good time with it. Making content for it, especially, I think helps out and makes it more fun because you kind of use your imagination a little bit, and I'm talking through the storylines.
I agree.
It even helps me get into the to the franchise a little bit more.
No, I think it'll be a fun time. I'm excited to do my franchise. So hope the people.
I see your Raiders flag is gone.
Yeah, I replaced it with Star Wars movies. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's better than a Raiders flag.
It.
Yeah. The Raiders flag didn't make much sense next to the Browns stadium. This is better.
I guess my Colorado Rockies hat doesn't make a whole lot of sense either.
Browns, Rockies, Raiders fan. But anyway.
Fair enough. Anyway, let's get into some news. Some newsworthy things have gone down. I guess we already talked about Chet a little bit last time, so we probably shouldn't discuss that too much.
We didn't know he was out for the season last time.
Right, we didn't know that.
Dude, it really sucks. That's a bummer. He was one of the more like, I think he was easily the most interesting rookie. The guy I was the most excited to watch because there's so much question about like how exactly is that going to translate to the NBA? Like his play style, is the size going to be a problem for him? And now we don't get to figure out till next year. There's plenty of really good players in the NBA that were hurt their first year, so it's not the end of the world, but it stinks.
I still have high hopes for him, but yeah. Really just heartbreaker. I guess the big NBA news would be Patrick Beverley to play with LeBron James. Come on, man. Like, they're going to win the finals.
I envy him. Oh, how I envy him.
Envy who, LeBron or Pat
I like
Bev?
that move too. I love that move for the Lakers. I mean, like, it's not a game changer. I mean, it's not like, all of a sudden they're in a totally different spot, but they were missing real role players. They did not have serious role players last year. Patrick Beverley is a serious role player. He's a good defender. And I know he had a down year shooting last year, but for the most part, he's been a really strong shooter. So another 3-and-D guy for THT who he wasn't going to play. He can't contribute to a winning team right now, or at least he couldn't for the Lakers. And Stanley Johnson, who I liked, but the lack of shooting was going to be tough to work around. It's a good deal. I like it.
I'm thinking about this from Patrick Beverley's post-career standpoint, if he's going to be on a First Take and stuff and, prep for a role in broadcasting, him on the Lakers will certainly increase his star power even more. And I'm just prepping for the inevitable reality that he is on ESPN now every single day, and his relevancy has never been higher, which will be funny and will make for a lot of things to talk about for us over the next calendar year. That's where I took away from him. Like, oh man, we've got an extremely relevant Patrick Beverley. That's going to be fun.
Hey, Patrick Beverley's already fun, so
he's already. Well,
he is, and he's the type of guy where he gets a lot of hate, but never from the teams that he's on. Timberwolves liked him, Clippers liked him, and there's a good reason for that. He's a good player.
That's why Matt, when you compared me to Patrick Beverley, the way I play basketball, I took it as
you kind of are. Like I took it. You're good on defense. You're legitimately very good. I took
it as a compliment because I'm like, you know what? No one has ever complained with playing with Blaiden Kirk.
That's some truth to that.
Some truth to that.
But this isn't really a major move. I want to see the healed Turner trade to the Lakers happen. I was tweeting about that earlier today. That I want to see. Then the Lakers will be really serious.
Yeah, I agree. Nice move. And I mean, for the Jazz, like talking about it from that perspective, I mean, THT, last year sucked, but I mean, I don't know. It's a rebuilding team. He's a young player.
Trying,
you're not trying to win. Something be there, right?
So you might as well take the younger player. Why not take a shot on THT? You don't have anything in Beverly in the sense of like, how's that going to help you if you're totally blowing it up?
Right. Yeah. So
definitely at this point, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but considering there hasn't been like a smidge of NBA news.
Yeah, that's
outside of like two things since
it's like Kevin Durant stays.
Right.
And then Pat Bev, and now Pat Bev to the Lakers. Hurt. So it's like the big three of things that have happened in the NBA. As far as NFL news goes, Geno Smith is the official starter in Seattle, which means I need to update my QB rankings quiz to have Geno on instead of Drew Lock. I think it's the right move. After some long, hard thinking, and also watching him in preseason, he has been looking really nice. And like, if you haven't seen anything from Locke to this point, because he had COVID and whatnot, like it just makes more sense to just roll with Geno than trying to, force yourself to see it through with Locke. I'd rather just take the guy that's, he's already been here. So I mean, he knows the offense, so you might as well just give him the nod.
Yeah, I think it's been funny to watch like the reaction to Geno getting the starting nod, because I think if you've really been paying attention to what the Seahawks have been doing, it's been pretty obvious that he's going to be the starter for the last like 2 or 3 months. Like he was always the number one and Locke had to unseat him. And I think people kind of always thought of it the other way, where Locke was the number one and there's no way Geno starts. And then when the preseason happened, Geno was running with the ones. There were a ton of drops from the Seahawks this preseason, but overall, Geno looked all right. He was accurate, protected the football, hit some big plays. Some big plays got dropped, like I said.
Yeah.
And then Drew Lock got COVID and missed the second game. And Geno was already the number one. Locke missed a big opportunity to kind of like make any headway, because Locke was legitimately good in the first game. And so I thought Geno kind of had it locked up once Locke's, missed that opportunity game 2. And then game 3, Geno started, looked pretty good. And Locke came in and he was Drew Lock. He was up and down. There were some questionable throws. He threw 3 picks. You can debate how many of them were exactly his fault, but still, you're not going to win the starting. You're not going to unseat Geno Smith throwing 3 picks, regardless of how many were his fault. So we haven't seen Geno start since like 2013. All right, since he got his jaw broken, he's done a lot of sitting, a lot of learning since then. He came in last year. He didn't look horrible. All right, he had a passer rating of like 103. I think he won a game for them in about 3 games that he had to play. He was like 1-2 and looked sharp this preseason. So, in that offense, very McVay, came from the offensive coordinator came from the Rams. They've elevated some bad quarterbacks before. I do think that there's a chance that Geno Smith, isn't as bad as everybody thinks that he is. And shout out, if you want more Geno Smith content, follow Griff Sturgeon, who we had on this podcast after the Wilson trade. He has been the number one Geno Smith content creator and fan on Twitter that I've seen over the past couple months. And he's been on top of that the entire time, talking about Geno's strengths and weaknesses and prepping for him to be the starter in Seattle. So I've seen a lot more Geno content through following him than the average person.
No, I legit think, like, you talk about the drops that the receivers had. If you switch those receivers out with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they're making some big plays on offense. I don't think this offense is going to be nearly as bad as people think it is. They have great receivers. I think they're going to have one of the best running back rooms in football. I think Seattle's offense is going to be a lot, like, really surprising to a lot of people.
Their running game has a chance to be the best in the league. I mean, it was the last half of last year. It was like, it straight up was near the top of the league last year. And you might roll your eyes and say, no way. But like, look at the results last year. They were one of, I think, 3 teams that averaged over 5 yards a carry. I believe they averaged like 5 yards a carry, like every single game this preseason. When Geno was out there, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas were just killing it as the tackles. He had all day to throw most of the time. Like, the offensive line has actually looked pretty good recently for the Seahawks. So I think that they can pick up where they left off in terms of the running game, and Geno can at least be like a game manager. So yeah, I agree. I'm a somewhat of a fan of the Seahawks, the secondary kind of.
Are we going to say that the Seahawks finish above the Cardinals in the NFC West?
It's not a terrible take. It's possible.
I don't think it's that crazy. I really don't.
Well, I have the Rams going 8-9, so are we saying
I mean, you can't.
Someone's got to win some games.
You can't get much credit. Not the Rams.
Are they going to finish above the Rams? They're not going to finish above the Rams. The Rams. I think they'll be a little disappointing this year.
But
what if?
I'm going to tweet out, what if the Seahawks make the playoffs, and see how people respond to that.
I really liked their draft. I really like their running backs. I really like the receivers. Like, that's an exciting team. I would be excited if I was a Seahawks fan. I agree. I hope Geno does good. I'm rooting for him.
You can't help but root for Geno, man.
Hey, I've got the Geno Smith jersey.
Yo, that's right, the West Virginia.
The West Virginia Geno Smith jersey.
You got to wear that when they go to the Super Bowl, man.
All right. When they go to the Super Bowl, I'll rock the West Virginia Geno Smith jersey.
In other NFL news, speaking of offensive line play, Tyron Smith, tough. Probably looks like he's going to be
Cowboys
out.
Are in trouble.
He's out for the season. Is that confirmed that he's out for the season?
I believe he's out
back
for a long time, but not.
Okay.
I think he would be able to make it back for a playoff push if they were able to.
Okay. So basically out for the season. So it's like Cam Akers.
Cam Akers was supposed to be out for the whole year, and he came back. It's a torn hamstring. They think he can be back by December. That's what it is. But anyway, when you look at all the teams across the league during an off season, you can, for 99% of them, they all think they got better because of the draft, because of free agency. Like even some teams got better than other teams. Some's kind of maybe stayed the same, added a guy here and there that the fan base can get excited about. The Cowboys are like the one team this year where it's like, damn, they've like lost Tyron Smith. They've lost Amari Cooper. They've lost Randy Gregory. Like, it's kind of tough to say like, oh yeah, I think they've gotten better this offseason. And when you're like the one team that kind of looks like you're in a worse spot than you were last year, well, everyone else thinks they've improved slightly. Like, that's kind of a dangerous position to be in.
If you didn't get better, you got worse. Getting better on paper is so easy, and the Cowboys haven't.
Matt, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you didn't get better, you got worse. Like,
yep.
I love that trope. It's so common, but it's absolutely facts. Like,
I mean, is there wide receiver 2 right now? Because Gallup is not going to be ready week 1. Am I wrong? That's what I've heard.
Probably going to be James Washington or Jalen Tolbert.
Washington or Jalen Tolbert. And they get Gallup back. I think the receivers are pretty good. I'm a James Washington fan, and I like.
And they
Tolbert.
have Schultz at tight end, right?
Yeah, still got
good.
the weapons, but it's like the offensive line is taking a big step back. I'm afraid without Smith.
No Tyron Smith, no Collins.
And if Lamb gets hurt, all of a sudden, like, your entire offense depends on the look. I think that there can still be a team with a winning record. I think they can still hit 10 wins. Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, they added Anthony Barr. The secondary looks all right. Like, they've got really good coordinators. Well, the jury's still out a little bit on Kellen Moore, but I tend to think Kellen Moore is a pretty good coordinator and Dan Quinn is a good defensive coordinator. But they've got some pieces there, like the skill position group with Lamb, and we'll get into Lamb when we talk about fantasy. Like, I think it's still good. They've got the elite quarterback, in my opinion, in Dak.
Yeah,
they've got 2 elite edge rushers. They've got a number 1 corner in Trayvon Diggs, kind of. And the ingredients are still there for a good team, but it's like if they like totally suck, if it was just a total bum year and they were the like most disappointing team in football next year, I don't know if I'm like going to predict it.
You wouldn't be terribly surprised.
You can see it coming, right? You can see the path. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think they do have enough good players to where I think they can still be a playoff team, but I don't feel in like the past like 3 years, I have felt pretty confident in the Dallas Cowboys. But right now I'm not. So
yeah, and you think of like historically, teams that were in the playoffs the year before, like X amount of them miss it the next year. And in the NFC, it's like kind of tough to find those teams. Like, are the Packers going to make, like, who was in it last year? Packers, Buccaneers, 49ers, Rams, Cowboys, Eagles, and who am I missing?
Would it be Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Yes.
So, like, who are those? Like, the Cardinals, I think, are in high risk of missing it again. Yeah. And like after that, like Cowboys are probably next on that list of like at risk of missing. So
because all those other teams got better, except for maybe Rams didn't. Maybe the Bucks. The Bucks stayed the same, but they got Tom Brady.
You got to stick to your 8 and 9 take here, man.
I got to stick to my. Well, yeah, I think the Rams are going to get less production out of quarterback, offensive line, skill position, front 7, and secondary next year. I think all of those areas are not going to be as strong as they were last year. because I don't think Kupp is going to get 1,000,000,000,000,000 yards, and I don't think they don't have Von Miller anymore, and they don't have a solid
Bobby Wagner, linebacker one, man.
They lost Andrew Whitworth, so and Stafford.
It's definitely a worse team.
I think so, but at any rate, those are the three teams in the NFC where I'm like they're kind of on watch to miss after making it the year before. But anyway, that's enough for real news. It's time to get into fake football, fantasy football. But before we get into that, today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at OddsTrader. For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, OddsTrader is the place to go. They have the best price on every game and sign-up offers from multiple sports books. Plus, they have player statistics, key game stats, and even projected game day weather. You can use their bet tracker to keep records of all your games and betting activity. OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for all your game day bets. So, to begin your handicapping journey, make sure to go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader is the beginning of your best bets for all sports. Download from the App Store today.
Nice. I think I will. I think that's exactly what I'll do after this is download OddsTrader from the App Store. Fantasy takes. So the way we're doing this, these are slow burn fantasy takes. So we're going to start out with something pretty conservative and slowly work our way into some hotter takes. Theo again said before this episode that he was going to set the world on fire with his hot fantasy takes. So why don't you set us off, Theo, with your most conservative take?
I guess my most conservative, I'll say, I think that you should be really high on CeeDee Lamb this year. I think if we're talking about the Cowboys, we're talking about the weapons. CeeDee Lamb is kind of the only dude there that demands a high workload. And I think that his talent is supremely underrated. I think when it comes to being a complete wide receiver, I think he can develop into someone like Devontae Adams. I think he can develop into someone like the really top tier type of dudes. I think he has the talent to make that leap. He's got the body control. He's got the yards after catch ability. I mean, the body control leads him to so many other places because it expands the catch radius. It helps with the route running and shiftiness in and out of breaks, and it helps him lift tackles after the fact. And he was really elite in all of those areas. Suffered from a couple drops last year, but his hands were amazing in college, and I've seen multiple wide receivers get better with drops as their careers go on. So I think when you got a wide receiver with that kind of talent and in line for that kind of workload, I mean, we're talking about a guy who could easily hit 160 plus targets this year. Mm-hmm. I feel more confident about that than damn near anything. So after maybe Kupp and Justin Jefferson, if you took CeeDee Lamb after that, I truly wouldn't blame you.
Right. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
so
with
that's why I think it's a conservative take, because it's not that crazy to say a really talented wide receiver who is the clear #1 option on their team and a good offense with a good quarterback is going to be an elite wide receiver. But to maybe put him as high as I'm putting him, he's my current wide receiver.
He's my favorite second round receiver.
Yeah. If you can get him at the swing, I guess maybe my take would be I would be fine drafting him in the first round. And if you can get him in the second, you're totally gold. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would draft him in the first round. People are going to take Kupp, maybe Jamar, Jefferson. Those are probably the guys to go first. So you're almost certainly getting Lamb back around on the swing.
But yeah.
And in a lot of leagues, I've seen him go at the bottom of the second sometimes. He can slip. So I'm a huge fan of him. I almost had him as my offensive player of the year prediction. I think he's that good. But
he is that good. Matt, what's your most conservative take?
This one's really conservative. I don't like Isaiah Spiller. I don't think he's very good. And I understand. He's running back 46. But even then, there are better guys too.
He's running back 80.
Yeah, there's better guys to take. He's getting drafted over Nyheim Hines and Rachaad White. I like both those guys significantly better than Isaiah Spiller.
Yeah.
Rachaad White
Spiller is not
is so good. Rachaad White, that could be another take of mine that I didn't have on my list, but Rachaad White, take him like pretty damn early. But anyway, go on.
Right. No, I just think that, like, is he in a winnable backfield? Not really. I don't believe in his talent. I don't think he's that great of a running back. There's a reason why he fell. And I think that if you look at some of the other guys around him, it's like White could potentially win out in Tampa Bay. Hines, we know the workload he's going to have. With Spiller, even if you're right and he is really good, I don't think he's going to beat out Austin Eckler. Maybe if you're taking him as like a handcuff to Eckler, okay, but outside of that, I don't know. I think there's better guys to take a chance on than Spiller. Don't believe in the talent. Don't believe he can win the backfield. It's a tough situation.
I guess my only pushback on that would be like Austin Eckler is someone who has never had 20 carries in his life in a game. Never, ever. So he's someone they clearly want to protect because like he's always got some sort of nagging injury and he's productive in spite of it. But he's just not someone that you really trust hitting between the tackles over and over again. So maybe unlike he could get some more like goal line work if they're going to want to protect Eckler like that. But like, even then I'm like, I don't know. Cause they've got some other running backs there who've looked decent this preseason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not even guaranteed that he gets the running back 2 job, right? He could be the third. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to check right now. If Spiller is the third running back on that roster.
Wasn't Eckler
he's banged up right now?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Eckler mostly the goal line back last year anyway? I felt like they used him like more than like Jackson and I can't remember the other guy's name. I feel like they used Eckler.
He's really never gotten 20 carries in a game though. That's crazy.
Personally,
I don't know. I just don't like Spiller. I think even in the best case scenario, he's still like in a perfect world. He's not getting receiving work. He's still fighting there. It's like, give me a Rachaad White. And if you want to convince yourself that he's going to be him, you could say, okay, maybe he becomes a lead back for Tampa. It's not impossible. Or maybe he gets like a big load of the work there. It's not impossible. Or with Hines, you know the role he's going to have. With Isaiah Spiller, I think there's limited upside.
Yeah, that's the thing is like not knowing with Spiller. Devil that you know is better than devil that you don't. But I'm going to give you guys not a super hot take to start off. Jalen Hurts, QB1 in fantasy. Everyone's going to take.
That's a pretty hot take.
I don't think so.
Quarterback, you mean a QB1 or the QB1?
In fantasy, maybe QB2. Because everyone's going to... Here's the thing. First quarterback off the board is going to almost certainly be Josh Allen, which I get. Right? And then after that, who realistically do you feel comfortable taking over Hurts? Because I don't know if I would take anyone else at that point. I would just wait.
You don't like Lamar Jackson?
I like Lamar. Right? I love Lamar. But like Jalen Hurts was arguably the best rushing quarterback last year. And then they added... AJ Brown to that receiving core, so we know the passing offense is going to be better. I just see this like I think the Eagles are going to have a better passing offense than the Ravens, and I think the run game is going to be about neck and neck. Maybe Lamar's a little bit better, but if you're banking on Jalen Hurts still being a dominant rusher, which you probably should be, and the passing game's substantially better, even not even substantially, if it's even a little bit better. I mean, he's being drafted to QB7 right now. I would be very if he falls to me at QB7, I'm pulling the trigger on that every day, like no question about it.
I can see the vision with like people aren't taking into account that maybe adding AJ Brown helps his passing or like his passing totals.
I can definitely see that. I mean, you look at what like some of these elite wide receivers, what Jamar Chase did for Burrow and what Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen. And I'm trying to think what other examples there have been.
Those are the two big ones.
Those are the two big ones that have happened recently. I know there's been more, but anyway, I mean, if Jalen Hurts can experience something like that, I mean, I don't think that's a horrible take. I mean, AJ Brown is elite, and
trust me, I know we've all been on the crazy AJ Brown train for a minute now.
Yeah, no, I have Jalen Hurts at around the QB 6-7 range. I don't have him above Lamar. I'm high on Lamar as well, and that could even be my next take. Is Lamar, I think, is going to hit his career high in passing this year, and is always a safe bet for like in 1,000-yard rushing season.
So you're expecting a Bateman breakout then?
Yeah, I think I'm a big Bateman fan, and in general, I just think that Lamar is they're going to open up the offense for him a little bit more as a passer based on what they've been saying in the preseason. So I don't know if that's my next take, but
yeah, no, I mean that's totally fair. I just think like I trust the Eagles receivers a little more. Like I know Devontae Smith is good, right? I've seen him ball. I know Dallas Goedert's a good tight end. I know that AJ Brown's a good receiver. And I know that they can run the ball because they have one of the best offensive lines, and Jalen Hurts is great with the football in his hands. So, like, I've seen the vision. It just has to execute.
Yeah, I don't hate the take. All
right. Do we want to get a little spicier? How spicy can we get?
How about this? I'll say Christian Kirk will finish. I don't know where he's being drafted right now exactly. But I have him as like a top 25 wide receiver this year, maybe a top 20. He could be a guy that slips into the top 20 and could be like a really high end wide receiver 2 or even a low end wide receiver 1. And he is someone that I could definitely see just getting peppered with targets this year. Like who else is there? You've got
he's being
Marvin
drafted
Jones.
On average, like wide receiver 39 or 40.
Yeah, give me that like 20 spots ahead, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? He had 900 yards last year, and a couple touchdowns from the slot. What are the odds that he does better than that this year as the wide receiver 1 in that situation?
Here's a good way to.
I think it's kind of high. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
Marquez Callaway, wide receiver 38, finished last year.
Wow.
Right, there you go. Is that not proof of concept?
Yeah,
he was wide receiver 1, but he's not Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk is going to finish so much better than that, dude. He like literally half of the Doug Peterson offense is like heavily relies on kind of these RPOs and quicker passes. And in those reads, they kind of like focus on just one dude. And that one dude is going to be Christian Kirk like 90% of the time. And I think he's going to get good quarterback play. I think the Jaguars are going to be much improved. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback in my opinion. So I think he will be getting good quarterback play. He is in line for a pretty big amount of targets in that offense. And like overall, he's not even getting drafted at a point where it's a high risk signing. To me, like, yeah, he's a talented player in a really good situation. Like, maybe not a really good situation because it's still
here's the thing.
Even if the quarterback plays bad, who cares?
People looked at that contract and they said, "Oh, Christian Kirk is bad." That's the mentality they got into.
Right.
That's exactly what happened.
That overrated, overpaid player in Jacksonville. I don't want him. It's like, well, the Jacksonville people are looking at that like that's the guy we're giving. We need to justify that contract. So we're going to really make sure that he hits 1,000 yards this year, right? So I really think that he is going to be a centerpiece there. I think he's going to have a career year. Is he going to justify his contract? Probably not. This is not what I'm saying. But
he doesn't have to.
Contract, is it going to look like, are the Jaguars going to try to make sure that maybe it doesn't look like the worst contract of all time? Yes, they will. So give me like Christian Kirk over some of these other guys that are getting drafted is like in the 30s. I really think
who's being drafted over him right now?
Let me go.
Probably some bums, but he's gonna. I think there's a real chance he finishes as a pretty high end wide receiver 2 this year, in my opinion. I
agree. Tyler Lockett, Brandon Ayuk, Hunter Renfrow, Bateman. I'm really high on his opportunity. I agree.
Hopkins is getting drafted over him. How many games is Hopkins supposed to miss?
Just 6. I don't blame anybody for taking Hopkins over him.
Drake London, Tyler Lockett, Devontae, Lazard. Theo.
And that leads me, that kind of ties in with my next take. Okay. I know Deshaun Watson got suspended. The Browns are going to throw the ball. Amari Cooper at wide receiver 30 is kind of great, honestly. I do not think that it is going to be quite as bad. I feel like everybody is low on him. I'm not. I'm not going to go draft him like rounds ahead of where he's supposed to go. But at wide receiver 30 with the ADP he has now, I like him.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. The Browns receivers are pretty thin, right? It's like Amari Cooper and then like Bell and then like Anthony Schwartz and Donovan Peoples-Jones, right? And if you're a quarterback who you don't have a lot of experience with this offense, you're trying to get your feet settled and just try and get anything going, you're going to go to the guy who is like always open. And who's the best route runner in that building? It's Amari Cooper by a pretty wide margin.
He's going to get a lot of targets, and he only needs to be we're talking wide receiver 30. I understand the quarterback play is going to be bad. I understand they're going to run a lot, but they are going to throw the ball. And Amari Cooper is so much more talented than every other pass catcher there. I think he lives up to that ADP.
He's pretty head and shoulders above the rest.
I don't disagree. I have mixed feelings about him because I don't disagree that he is a decent receiver in a clear number one spot, right? But at the same time, I mean, he hit over 70 yards once last year. He was like incredibly disappointing. And he was bad against man coverage.
With Lamb and Gallup, though, right?
With Lamb and not really even Gallup, right? He was the wide receiver 2. Yeah. He was supposed to be the co-wide receiver 1 in that offense. True. He had a lot of opportunity to go off last year, and he didn't do it. And now he's in the worst quarterback situation. And even last year, I think he struggled a little bit more to separate in against man coverage.
He was hurt through a lot of last year, right?
He was.
Or am I making that up?
Well, I don't know. Actually, now that you say that, I
feel maybe all right. Maybe I'm wrong.
He was so unpredictable. But here's the thing. I also see what you're saying, Matt. But I when I looked at him, I could see. I was like, man, that's pretty tempting to take him there. He still had 8 touchdowns, right? That's pretty good. I guess he didn't have 700 yards. He had 865. So, yeah, I don't know what to think about him.
It is tempting, right? It's tempting to want Cooper. But my thing is that I'm too high on Nick Chubb right now. I am too high on Nick Chubb to really go full throttle.
But that does not make any sense. But they're going to throw the ball.
Yeah, they're going to throw the ball.
They're going to throw the ball.
You have Jacoby Brissett, who notoriously can't get the ball downfield.
They're going to throw the ball.
You have a great offensive line, and you have the best runner in football. I'm running the ball through Nick Chubb 400 times.
Offensive line.
One of the best. You have I said great offensive line, not the best.
This is I thought you said best.
I mean, that's not bad.
Dude, now here's the thing though. If we think Amari Cooper is going to be bad, okay. I
don't think he's going to be bad.
If Amari Cooper is not like very good, they're really screwed. The Browns are going to really suck.
No, the Browns are going to be very underwhelming this year, but Nick Chubb's going to be great. Don't worry.
Is that your next hot take?
Yeah, Nick Chubb's running back 1.
Dude, come on. I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I gotta disagree.
You do? I get the split backfield. I get the shared backfield.
And he is not the pass catcher there. It's going to be so hard for him to do that. And I agree with the talent, and they're going to run a lot, but they're just not going to run enough with him, I don't think.
Maybe not. But here's the thing. Maybe they don't. Well, no, maybe they don't run as much as you would want them to. As much. I don't know. I'm trying to think about how to phrase this because I look at Jacoby Brissett and I do not trust him to run the offense through him. Right. The only person on the offense that I trust enough to run the offense through is Nick Chubb.
He can't run the offense through.
Why not?
Here's the thing.
Okay, so you're saying that they have bad quarterback play and a great offensive line. They'll have to run a ton, and he'll be running back 1.
Yeah.
Did they have good quarterback play last year?
Did you see the season Alvin Kamara just had? Because he was the only offensive weapon that was there for like most of last year, and he was pretty underwhelming fantasy-wise. I could see a world where Nick Chubb has a season where they stack the boxes through the first 11 weeks and the efficiency is down a little bit. I can see a world where he is in quite literally the deepest backfield in the league with Kareem Hunt and De'Ernest Johnson. And because Chubb is so talented, they don't want him just running into, 4-yard gains over and over again and spread it out a little bit. He's not the primary pass catcher. And the offense isn't going to be marching up and down the field and scoring a bunch of touchdowns. So I have him as running back 12. I think he's of that elite tier of running backs, he's the one I'm least interested in drafting, even though he is my
fantasy-wise
favorite running back of all of them. I just don't think he's going to be fantasy running back 1. That's what I got to say.
Listen, I watched Nick Chubb as a rookie just obliterate defenses with no offensive line. No offensive line.
He's great. He's a great running back.
He's a great running
but you're
back.
talking, you're talking about, they're going to stack the box. Not worried. It's Nick Chubb.
How many carries
he's going to run through him, so who even cares? He's going to score it.
Where did he finish fantasy-wise his rookie year?
Half PPR, 11.
That's because Hugh Jackson decided to keep him on the bench for 7 weeks.
Has he ever been? Well, I guess you're saying this year's could be different because they.
I don't know. But what do you think Nick Chubb's highest finish in half PPR is?
Too low.
I would say 5.
I'm 20. Okay, 21 was 11. 2020, 9. 2019, 7. 2018, 16. And did he come in the league in 2016?
That was 2018.
So he's never been a top 5.
So he's never even had a top 5 finish, which is insane.
It is insane. And for last year, yeah, Baker was not good last year, but the Browns still wanted to utilize Baker. Right? It's that was part of the game plan was having a passing offense.
Yes, that's going to be part of the game plan.
I'm looking up where they ranked in passing attempts. Okay. And if it says they were dead last in passing attempts.
And they're going to be dead. They were dead last. They're going to be bottom 5 probably because they've always been bottom 5 with Baker.
But they're throwing the ball enough to where
they're going to throw the ball enough this year.
Dude, they were fifth to last.
They were, yes, I knew this.
They're still going to throw the ball 500
They're going to throw the ball. They're not going to throw the ball as much as they did last year.
They hardly threw last year.
Even if they don't, they never, Baker, Stefanski never trusted Baker. He never did. They were bottom of the league in passing attempts every single year. This isn't some new thing with the Browns where they don't have a quarterback. They're going to keep the ball on the ground. They do that literally every year since they moved back to Cleveland. Okay, this isn't new look. Oh man, this is one of the better Browns quarterback situations that they have had, and it's still the worst in the league. This Blaiden, is not.
How strongly do you feel about this? Are you drafting Nick Chubb at the 1?
Yeah,
no, I drafted in my last league. I drafted Kamara. And then I drafted Nick Chubb in the 2nd.
So he's a running back 1, but you're waiting until the 2nd to grab him. Here's the other thing, too. Here's the other thing. Okay. Nick Chubb's value, entirely dependent because they're not going to be able to pass. What happens when Watson comes back?
Well, Watson's going to be
playoffs. He's going to be back.
He's going to be rusty. He's going to be.
I think he gets.
He's going to be.
I think his value goes up when Watson comes back.
Spreads the defense out.
Yeah.
Well, then there's no lose. If he has a bad quarterback, he's going to get the ball. If he has a good one, great. The offense is better. There's no losing.
I don't know. All I know is if you're going to give me the choice, if you're going to give me the choice between Nick Chubb right now or Dalvin Cook, I'm probably taking Dalvin Cook, who doesn't have a potential top 10 running back as his backup, and has finished as
if the Browns would only trade Kareem Hunt, this would be a much easier sell.
It would be. It really would be. But even still, we're talking about a guy who's never been a top 5 half PPR running back or even full PPR. It's probably even worse.
Yeah,
so.
maybe not.
If you play in a standard league, maybe
the take should be that he'll be top 5.
There you go.
When's the last time you guys played in a standard league, dude?
Literally pretty never recently. In my life.
I don't think I have ever once seen someone do that. I used to play standard when I was. I like standard better, I think.
I like half PPR. Half PPR I can understand. I did standard for a long, long time in the league that I've run a fantasy league, which is actually drafting tonight. I've got the first overall pick. I'm on the clock, which I might have a hot
right now.
Later. Not right now, but well, I'm the first one to pick, but I can take anyone I want. But
you should pick Christian Kirk with your first pick.
DJ Moore, man.
I might. DJ Moore is also someone who I think is a little underrated. But anyway,
yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make Matt mad with who I think is underrated. I don't even know if he is underrated, but
next we got to turn it up one more notch, right?
I suppose.
Yeah. Or are we done? Are we done with the?
Are we allowed to give takes that like we don't even like feel sure about?
I think that's kind of the whole idea, is that you say something and you can't really be like crucified for it.
My number one hottest take is close, but one more notch. Anyway, we are moving on. My next hot take is you cannot. This is not even a take that is hot anymore because everybody loves Dameon Pierce now, but you can't take him too high. All right. He is going to have the Kareem Hunt rookie year this year. He is this very similar player, great footwork, kind of a compact power back who can run through tackles. Not an absolute home run hitter. I think Kareem Hunt ran like a 4.6 at the combine, and Dameon Pierce ran like in the high 4.5s. So that's maybe something that knocks him down a little bit. Is doesn't quite have that home run speed, and Dameon Pierce didn't have this huge workload in college. But Dameon Pierce, I mean, if you look at what he's done, he's been great in the preseason, and he just straight out sat out a game because he was too good to they like knew he was the starter and they wanted to see the other guys. That's why I didn't play in the second preseason game. All right. This guy can be on the field to catch, to block. He's great at both of those things. He is a great runner, a fantastic runner behind a pretty good offensive line. And to me, he is my pick for offensive rookie of the year. I think that he's going to come in right away, start, rush for over 1,000 yards. I think he can catch, so it'll be a decent PPR finish. Like after that first kind of tier of running backs, and we all know the ones that you feel good about, like with running back one, the Dalvin Cooks, the Jonathan Taylors, the Alvin Kamaras, the Joe Mixons. There's kind of that tier, and there might be two tiers within that tier. But then after Nick Chubb, you start to hit maybe like the DeAndre Swifts and the Josh Jacobs. And there's kind of a tier break in rounds like 3 and 4. Rounds 3 and 4, I might take Dameon Pierce just to know that I have him. Like after that first tier, I think Dameon Pierce and there's some other guys I like in that tier, AJ Dillon and J.K. Dobbins too. But rounds 3 and 4, I'm securing Dameon Pierce after that kind of first run. I'm making sure he's on my team because I think he's going to be a total league winner.
League winner.
That's up a notch. League winner, Dameon Pierce, and everyone likes him now. So I don't think this is some big secret, but
it's not going to be. It's not a secret anymore.
Him, dude. He is so solid.
Houston Texans' worst kept secret, Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, it's not even a
secret. I think Rex Burkhead wins the starting job.
It's all fun and games until Rex Burkhead goes for 1,200.
Rex Burkhead is in line for 300 carries this year, I say. No, I agree.
Yes, sir. He's sick.
Theo, do you know who I think is a league winner?
Besides Nick Chubb and Jalen Hurts?
T. Higgins.
I knew you were going to say T. Higgins. How is T. Higgins a league winner? What is it with people and this guy?
You know that T. Higgins had more targets per game last year than Jamar Chase?
I don't care. Jamar Chase better. There's like 5 receivers there who are all awesome. He's not a league winner.
I think
so. To be a league winner, he would have to be like wide receiver 1 next season.
I don't think he'll be wide receiver. Jamar Chase is being drafted as wide receiver 3. Right. And he only had like a handful of targets more than T. Higgins because he played in 3 more games. But when you look at like T. Higgins towards the end of the season and how productive he was, and how capable he was in like the Super Bowl, I think he can be a very, very valuable asset for them and a very valuable asset for your fantasy team. Matt's not going to draft him because he hates Clemson. And that's the only reason. That is your only reason for disliking T. Higgins. Dude is fantastic. Dude catches everything. If you throw T. Higgins the football and he doesn't come down with it, you didn't throw it to T. Higgins. I'm sorry.
Are you done?
Would you like to say something?
I would. The thing about T. Higgins is like jokes aside, he's pretty good. And at his ADP, I think he could beat it. He's going to get a lot of targets. He's in a very good offense. But he's not a league winner. As wide receiver 18, how good would you need for him to be? Jamar Chase is more talented than him. I think Jamar Chase is better. I think maybe a more interesting take would be that Jamar Chase shouldn't be wide receiver 3. That may be. I could see.
That may be it. Because I do think that T. Higgins is going to be a lot closer to Jamar as far as production-wise.
But unless T. Higgins is like a top 5 receiver, I don't think he's a league winner.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember where I ranked him. I do think that 18. I think that a borderline top 10 finish for T. Higgins is definitely not out of the question. And if he's at 18, that's like good value there. I would feel pretty happy taking T. Higgins. I feel pretty good about. He is. I do subscribe to the T. Higgins mini D Hop agendas. I do
mini
think
D Hop.
Isn't
he bigger than? Is it? I thought he was. Isn't he bigger than D Hop though?
Well, when I say mini, I mean like not a discount D Hop. I do.
Yeah,
I do
DeAndre Hopkins
also went to Clemson.
Not good.
Not a good player.
Not a good player. Bad at football.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know if he's a league winner because he is, not someone who's exactly a sleeper right now as a top 20 receiver. But I do think that he's a good value with where he's taken.
I just think if you're looking at receivers and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to take Jamar Chase at the back of the first, maybe instead you should be looking to get T. Higgins in like the 3rd or the 4th because you're going to get basically the same guy.
The take that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase could finish once again in a pretty similar range is not a bad one, I think. So yeah.
So that's all with Mr. T Higgins.
All right,
Matt. What's? I think you have another one, Matt.
I don't like Alan Lazard.
No,
I don't like Alan Lazard. How many years are people going to get like burnt for trying to figure out who Aaron Rodgers likes in that wide receiver room? I understand this year it is different because you are looking for his wide receiver 1, but every year, who's the wide receiver 2 going to be? Every year they never get it right. They're talking about, Devin Funches is going to go be fantasy relevant.
It's going to be.
No, he's not.
It's going to be.
It'll be Randall Cobb. Stop.
It's going to be DeGuara.
That guy hates wide receivers. I'm not subscribed to the talent with Alan Lazard. I think he's going to be matched up against number 1 corners. I think he's going to struggle.
He's going to. What they're going to do is they're going to put him. They're going to give him cup roll. They're going to put him in this big slot. No number 1 is going to go in the slot. Well, actually, that's not true. Number 1s may go in the slot more because if they're physical, you can put them in the run fits, and more people are putting their number 1 wide receivers in the slot. But I do think that he is. I don't think that I think they're going to be able to scheme him ways. I don't think he's going to be the X. That's what I'm saying. I think that he's not going to be out there on the sideline against the number 1 corners. I think Sammy Watkins is going to get thrown in that role, and he's going to get 0 yards every week. Alan Lazard is going to be in the slot. They're going to throw Sammy Watkins to the Wolves, dude. I'm telling you.
God damn.
No, that's what's going to actually.
I agree. Sammy Watkins will get no yards.
Not good at football. He went to Clemson.
Fade Sammy.
Yeah, I'm not bought into the Sammy Watkins hype.
Yeah. No. They're gonna, So I think that they're gonna keep him kind of more in that slottish role, where he can avoid that number 1 guys are just gonna press him and beat him all the time. I think that Lazard is going to be in a role that prevents that from happening a little bit. And I saw a stat that Aaron Rodgers has supported a top 10 wide receiver basically every year he's been in the league. Right. And obviously the wide receivers that he's had have made it pretty easy for him. Jordy Nelson's amazing. Devontae Adams amazing. Greg Jennings was amazing. Alan Lazard's a step down from those guys. But again, I've seen him lead the league, and I've seen Aaron Rodgers make hoodie washed, came back from Oakland, James Jones lead the league in touchdowns. I know that him and Lazard have an actual chemistry. Like Rodgers has been chewing out all these young wide receivers in practice, like publicly being like, we're dropping everything, we're running the wrong routes. So Lazard is going to be the only guy that he trusts, I fear. And if you've got like Rodgers laser beamed on you, this isn't like trying to figure out who's the number 2 behind Adams, because we knew Adams was. I almost feel more like this is the clear number 1, and you're getting the Rodgers number 1 instead of trying to figure out who the number 2 is, because that, I think you are out on Dubs and you're out on Watson. You don't think they're going to be relevant because you're trying to figure out who the number 2 is behind Lazard. But Lazard, I feel confident that Rodgers is laser focused in on, and Lazard's going to catch 12 touchdowns this year, sadly.
How many touchdowns did Lazard have last year?
Probably like 6 to 8, somewhere in that range.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if he had 6 to 8 last year and you lose Devontae, someone's got to take those. Someone's gotta. So I don't hate Lazard.
I also still like Breece Hall.
That's fair. We're running out of time here. I have my hottest take that I have not yet given. We are already an hour into this, but my hottest take, I have the number 1 overall pick in my fantasy draft tonight. I think I will take Derrick Henry. I think he could finish as the people fading Derrick Henry.
I hate this take.
Are stupid. They're stupid. Last year, before he got hurt, Derrick Henry was on pace to be the running back 1 easily and score the most half PPR points of any running back in the last 15 years outside of 2019 McCaffrey. He was incredible. So he is in an offense.
But you won't take McCaffrey.
Because McCaffrey
was unbelievable in 2019.
In 2019, and then he's suffered multiple like foot injuries that have kept him out for years. And I don't know what he is. I feel more confident about Derrick Henry, who had a foot injury last year, yes, but he came back from that. All right. So he's came back from that, and now he's had a full offseason. And people are like, oh, he's too old. He's tried off the tires. I'm going to look at some of the running backs from the last era, the 2010s, what they did in their age 28 season. Marshawn Lynch had 1,600 total yards and 17 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson, 1,411 touchdowns. LaShawn McCoy, 1,614 touchdowns. Matt Forte, 1,900 total yards, 12. LaDainian Tomlinson, 1,900 yards, 18. Arian Foster, 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. Jamal Charles, the most injury-prone guy ever, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. Chris Johnson, 1,400 total yards, 10 touchdowns. Even Steven Jackson had 1,400 total yards and 6 touchdowns. All right. That's all age 28 seasons. People are going to look at Gurley and be like, oh, he was washed at age 28. Le'Veon Bell, who sat out an entire year voluntarily and then went to the worst offensive line in the league, the Jets, and slaved away. He fell off a little bit earlier. And like Zeke is the other one where I think like people are looking at some of the more recent examples of age 28 running backs and being like, oh, I don't trust Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry is an old school workhorse running back. He's going to age like the list of the guys I just named. And I feel very confident that as a number 1 offense in a very old school coaching staff, a hard-nosed run first mentality with the Tennessee Titans have, he's just going to go in and he's just going to do what he did the last 3 years, lead the league in rushing and lead the league in rushing touchdowns, which he was on pace to do. And I'm certain he would have done last year if he stayed healthy. Like, I think he could just very easily just come in and do that again, like very easily. Yes, injury is a risk, but he doesn't have injury history outside of just, I wouldn't label him an injury prone guy just yet.
I would not label him injury prone. I would not label him injury prone.
People are fading him. And I think like Jonathan Taylor, running back 1, maybe that is what I'll do. But in the sake of hot takes, he is unironically my running back 2 behind Taylor. And I think if he outproduces Taylor to me or any other running back this league, like he has been doing for the past 3 years when he's been healthy, like at age 28, I'm not that scared. I'm not scared of drafting Derrick Henry like extremely early. I'm not scared. I'm a
little scared of drafting Derrick Henry early.
More for me.
It's more for you. But like to me, it's not like an injury where like Derrick Henry has an incredible frame, right? So like for the most part, that you look at that, you're like, okay, he's probably not going to get hurt. But foot injuries are different, right? This is the reason why we get scared anytime like centers have foot injuries in the NBA, because we understand that like, even though you're a big guy and you're probably not going to get banged around a lot, you're always, you need your feet. Like that is, it is so important. So it's like, if Derrick Henry like just got his foot stepped on, which if you've ever played football, you can get your foot stepped on by a 400-pound offensive lineman, 300-pound offensive lineman pretty easily, right? It's just like, I feel like literally Derrick Henry getting hurt is a matter of just like bad luck. And that's something that I'm not really willing to play with.
Well, if it's just bad luck, I just don't think he's injured. I'm just not ready to label him like I am Christian McCaffrey is like, oh, this guy's injury prone. And while everybody's
I'm with you on that.
I'm taking Austin Eckler. I'm taking Dalvin Cook. I'm taking all these other guys ahead of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is like the fifth or sixth running back off the board in some places. More for me. That's all I got to say. He could be, and I think he will be, a top 2 running back this year. That is maybe my hottest take. I might take him number 1 overall in my fantasy draft tonight. So that's my hottest one. But we got to get out.
Matt, what's your hottest take?
Say that.
I don't know. I think I'm all out of stuff I feel real good about. I like J.K. Dobbins a lot this year.
As you should.
But I think everybody already knows that.
Yeah. You just worry about maybe Sutton. Lamar running the ball a shit ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Courtland
Sutton as a top. I have him as a top 10 receiver also this year, but that's another thing that fantasy people are high on. So we're running out of time. Like, listen to some other fantasy guy explain it. Russell Wilson likes big, deep threats.
Right.
Bang, done. Perfect. That's my take.
I would lean. My other thing would be like Gabe Davis. I'm pretty high on. I'm not sure how high yet, but I am high on Gabe Davis. I'm leaning towards.
It's the hottest take, so you got to say something like Gabe Davis will outperform Stephon Diggs if we're going to ramp this up.
Oh, okay. Are you going to say? Can I say is top 10 high enough? Is that hot enough for you?
There we go. We'll say top 10.
Okay,
top 10 wide receiver.
Gabe Davis, top 10 fantasy wide receiver. I don't know if he would outperform Diggs because that is kind of the caliber. And then there's like, I think Derek Carr has the potential to be like a top 5 quarterback. You look at like he had his career high in passing yards last season, and then he just added his best friend like at wide receiver, and we know how that turned out for Burrow. We know how that adding an elite receiver turned out for Allen. Again, same thing we talked about with Hurts. So I can expect some pretty high level passing production from Derek Carr, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Top 5 that's pretty hot, but we're running out of time. So speaking of running, running your pool, Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fans and their social circles closer together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from Pick'em and Survivor to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. And like I said, I love just the Pick'em like mode in there, just the straight up game picks, baby, like injected into my bloodstream. I wish they should do Survivor. They should do a Survivor League, but include the preseason, and you have to pick Survivor preseason things. I think that would really up the ante. I don't know if they have that. They probably do, because they have, any game type that you would want. But that's not all. We have teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for us and our listeners. So you can compete against us in a Survivor League, last man standing. It's like Fortnite, right? Last man standing wins. It's the original Battle Royale was Survivor Fantasy.
It's like Chug Jug, guys.
It's like a Chug. You don't get those, though. Once you take damage, you're just out. You don't get a Chug Jug or
this is a med kit.
Anything.
It's a med kit.
You don't get any med kits. How to play? It's simple. Hop on the battle bus and join the pool via the link in the description or at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Sign up and make your picks. But why not make it interesting, right? Run Your Pool will be giving out $300 in cash prizes to the winners. So if you manage to beat us, you won't walk away empty-handed. And
imagine all the V-Bucks you can get.
You could get so many dude, what is the translation rate?
This is like V-Bucks.
This is just like They have this thing called money. It's just like V-Bucks, but you could spend it on more things. So make sure to join today at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Again, that's play.runyourpool.com/stayhot, or just check the link in the description. Okay. What is our question of the week to end this thing?
The question of the week is, would you rather, I guess it's a would you rather, not a question of the week, but would you rather only ever have hot drinks or only ever eat cold food?
Hot drinks, bro. Give me hot tea every day. Yes, sir. Like, I love me a hot tea. And if it's lukewarm water, I can live with that. All right. I've lived in Arizona for a while now. I know what hot water from a water bottle tastes like. I'm used to it. No hot food ever again? What the hell? I'd just be eating Jimmy John's the rest of my life.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all, man.
Here's the thing,
right?
Mayo ass sandwich.
Nah. You don't always have to. There are cold things you can eat, right? You can cook things and then let them cool off.
You cook things, wait for them to get cold, and then eat them, or cook things out of the oven and make yourself like a coffee or hot tea, or just warm up.
You're gonna drink hot water. What is
how hot is hot? It depends on how hot it is. Is it like boiling and like my mouth melts? Like
no, it's okay. We'll say it is sat in the back of your car in like a hot car all day. That's your water.
That's just saying it's hot. Okay,
it's hot. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, no. I take a steak off the grill.
What is this?
Let me go put it in the refrigerator for an hour and then I can eat it. No, no.
That's no way to live.
That's no way to live. I go to a restaurant. Do you have anything ice cold? Can I get that cold, please?
Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants you just couldn't eat.
You don't have to get it ice cold, but like...
Oh, if it has to be, then the drinks can be lukewarm. If cold food is room temperature, then warm drinks is room temperature.
Oh my God.
You're just wrong on this one. No,
I don't know. This just feels like, okay, if we're doing like hot drinks, this to me feels like...
You couldn't ever go to a restaurant.
Yes, you could.
You could never... No, you couldn't.
Yes, you can.
Half of the... You'd have to have like sushi every day or whatever.
Okay, we go to McDonald's. Sushi. We go to McDonald's. You go to McDonald's. What cold food are you getting?
He's asking for a popsicle, like a little kid.
No, just get like get a sausage McMuffin and then let it sit.
Dude, if you let McDonald's cool off, it's horrible. I got some McNuggets today. They smelled like rubber 5 minutes after I got them. You don't want to wait for all your food.
So much for that McDonald's sponsorship, huh?
It's good hot.
It was very... I still got it, didn't I?
You did. You did.
I'm still here.
You're still here. Listen, all I'm saying, hot drinks to me is like the Julian Smith like hot Kool-Aid bit where he's like, I made this for you. Like that.
That's a real
I don't know what that
I haven't heard the name Julian Smith since I was in 6th grade.
That's just how I feel. And I'm like, I don't want to drink everything hot. Like I can go.
I don't want to eat everything cold.
I don't want. I don't want to have to, like. I am perfectly fine eating like steak tartare for dinner every day.
That's a real life reference. You had that last night.
No,
super!
It's not
knowing Blaiden.
It's not that. It was like it was like $20.
Yeah, it's an expensive meal.
That restaurant was in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's Boca.
I'm going to go to that restaurant.
It's a great restaurant.
I'm going to figure out how much it was.
It was $20.
And it was cold?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
steak.
Uncooked beef. It's uncooked beef.
Uncooked doesn't mean
it's
cold,
short rib.
though.
You would get sick of that. You know how limiting not being able to eat hot food is.
I want you to keep a journal over the next couple of weeks and just pay attention to how many things
The only thing I drink is like ice water. Almost everything, like I drink ice water more than I eat hot food. I promise you.
All right. I think that we're living a much better quality of life with our hot food and drinking.
Nah.
Tell them to warm up the water in the microwave for like 30 seconds and just drink that. But
nah, man.
You also are the man who said that you would prefer to be blind than not be able to hear.
I do have a song called Blind. I do have a song called Blind.
You do. You do.
Nice.
I do.
There's one more thing I wanted to talk about, something that means a lot to me.
What?
You see the Denzel memes, rumors.
Yeah,
Dude, if he becomes a Panther, I'm so up. Dude.
Denzel Mims,
that'd be so
wide
funny.
receiver,
wide receiver 5 in Carolina, baby.
Nah, man.
Hey, he has like 100 yards right now as we're talking in this preseason game because he is him. Denzel Hims. But
Panthers are going to give up a second-round pick for him here.
Stop.
Stop. Anyway.
Facts.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. As always, tons of content coming on all platforms. Yeah. We'll be back from Matt, Blaiden, and Theo. Corn Boy, Bird Boy, Lemon Boy. Theo thought...
I thought you were going to forget.
I threw a curveball. I never forget, man. As always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.